Welcome to the Floor Academy podcast. I am your host, Kyle Hedin, owner of Illustrious Hardwoods in Phoenix, Arizona. I found out I got a spinny chair now, so I'll probably sit here and annoy the audience as I move back and forth. This week's guest, we got Billy Fritzel in Colorado, if I'm not mistaken,
That is
and
correct.
we are going to talk about him being a young entrepreneur in the game, running his own show. But first, I want to remind you to learn while you earn. Yes, you can watch these live streams now as they go out, but they are still coming out as podcasts. Put in your earbuds, get to work, make sure you are educating yourself on how to run a more successful and profitable business. The Floor Academy podcast is sponsored by Tralama, the trade labor marketplace, where businesses can find skilled trade labor, such as flooring installers, and where flooring installers and other skilled tradespeople can find permanent or project work. You can set up your profile at tralama.com. That's TRALAMA.com, or download the app from the Apple App Store or Google Play. And remember, Tralama is always free for skilled tradespeople. All right, Billy, who are you? What do you do? Why do you do it? How'd you get into it? Let me hear it.
All right, man. I'm Billy Fritzel. I own Fritzel Flooring out here in Fort Collins, Colorado. Um, you know, just running it down from the top. I'm a second generational hard surface installer. My dad's actually the one who kind of got me into the things. I went to college at Colorado State doing the construction management program. Turns out college wasn't for me. I wanted to make the big bucks and started out working with my brother, who may or may not be also in Fort Collins, Colorado, and working under him as his main guy doing hardwood floors. And eventually took the leap of faith, got my own thing going, got about a crew of 4 right now doing residential hard surface flooring.
So what was that like growing up in it? Like, tell me a little bit about that. Like, what'd you see from a kid's perspective as your dad was doing it versus kind of what you see now being the owner?
Yeah, man. So, I always loved working with my hands, whether I was forced to or not. But just from a young age, always getting thrown out to my dad's job sites, installing tile, cleaning off grout, stuff like that, to all of a sudden senior year of high school, needing some side money, working on the weekends, doing stuff like that. And, the biggest difference right now, I don't even know where to begin with that, but let's just say my dad's one of the most skilled tradesmen I know that can do everything and more. But the biggest difference I'm seeing right now, and generationally speaking, is just a difference of mindset with business. A lot of these older guys are wizards when it comes to installing, scribing, doing the technical, master craftsman cabinetry stuff. But I'll tell you what, I see a lot of guys, especially on FIA, shout out them, a lot of guys struggling with how to run the business and how that's equally, if not more important in this
Mm-hmm.
trade.
Well, I don't think if you're not running a business, you own a job, right? And I understand, like, to me, okay, like, if we're going to define these things properly, right? So you can go from you can work for somebody and collect a paycheck, so you have a job, right? And then you can move into being like you own a business, but you technically, like, you own a job. Then you can get some systems in place, and eventually, like, to me, a true business should be one that runs itself. You should be able to step away from it, and it turns into an
Exactly.
asset. It's generating you income when you're no longer present because you've built the systems and you have the correct people in place to let it keep going. And so I see a lot of people that own jobs, and I think traditionally in the trades that's the way it's been, and I don't think there's nothing wrong with that. What I do see is a lot of guys such as myself and you and a lot of younger guys wanting to create these systems and have bigger things. You want to be able to step away and have something generating you an income so you're not stuck on your knees for 40, 50 years.
And that's exactly it. You took the words out of my mouth when it comes to that. It's like, you don't want to just live paycheck to paycheck doing a physically demanding job, right? Whether you love to install floors or not, it's a very physically demanding job, and you really got to get your worth out of it, and creating a
Mm-hmm.
business, especially, I got a lot of younger guys, my friends, who have actually started doing floors. I got Tyron and Nate, and it's the same thing. They're learning from family of, hey, this is hard work. This is blue collar work. You get up, you go to work early in the morning till sundown. Doesn't matter how many hours, you get the job done. That's great. Love hard work ethic.
Mm-hmm.
But, what are you doing for retirement? You're an independent contractor. Are you saving for retirement? Are you filing your taxes appropriately? Do you have health insurance? How long do you expect to be on your hands and knees? Do you have a business model? Do you want to get off the floors and not just be the installer, the manager, the accountant, the do it all,
Yeah. But where did that come from? I knew from the beginning, like, I wanted to run my own show. Like, I chose to be here. Like, I stepped into this industry and said, okay, this is what I'm going to learn. This is where I'm going to set up a business. Like, I had a different idea from the beginning. So where did you get the tenacity to be like, this is the way it's done? Was it because you've looked at your dad and you're like, not that you're disappointed in your dad or you think less of him, but it was seeing kind of where he's at in his career what inspired it? Is it a generational thing? What kind of sparked that in you?
I think it's a mixture. I love my dad. He's the one who taught me the skills I know today. I hope to be half as good as he is,
Mm-hmm.
But when it comes down to, luckily I have a brother here, two brothers who are older and run their own operation. Now, when I was at college, they were already up and running. So when you're a broke kid living in the dorms, microwaving, Hot Pockets every single night, and then you see, starting salary at these commercial construction jobs, $60K in benefits. Sounds great, but why am I looking at my 21-year-old brother grossing $500K on a small business that he's 2 years started out in, not in college debt? So
Mm-hmm.
I give props to my brothers for showing me that. And I think it partially is a generational thing. It's a lot of the times I keep referring to this. I see these older guys on that Facebook page, and we're talking about old school skills with new school business. So I see those guys that are
Mm-hmm.
talking about day rates, Ken Bowen, guys like that talking about, who are crazy numbers, but all of a sudden you break it down and you understand you don't want to live paycheck to paycheck.
Mm-hmm.
I want to own a business and I want to operate this business to what I stand for. But at the same time, I want to get out of this. I want to have a self-sufficient business. And, when you say that tenacity, it comes from wanting to have some money, man. I know you like that, Kyle. We
Yes,
talked about that.
Yeah.
And, it's a good opportunity in a dying trade to get out there and make some money. So now you got to learn
Correct.
how to make the money.
And I think there's a lot to it, right? I think a lot of guys would say like, oh, you guys are just money hungry. You're taking advantage of where the trade is at currently because it needs people. And I don't think that's it. Look, I'm money motivated. I'm not going to lie. Like if you wave some money in front of me, I'll find a way to make it work. But it's got to be worth it for me to do it. But I love putting in floors. I love talking with homeowners. Like if I could get off the floor, I've learned, like, I started and I was real nervous when I was first going out on my own and I was having to do the estimates and I didn't know, I was fumbling through them and like people could see that I was passionate about what I was telling them. And so they were willing to take a chance on me. Now I've learned how to do better sales and go in and, connect with people and build a rapport. But honestly, I have more fun in talking and getting to know people that yes, I can do the floor, but I'm not God's gift to flooring. I'm never going to be. Can I hold my own? Can I follow the directions and do it right? Yes, but there are people that are way more talented than me. I'd rather find them and let them do it and let them shine. Let me go build some relationships, keep you busy and do this thing. And so I don't want to live paycheck to paycheck, man. I did that. I did that for years and years and years. And then I finally got in a career and I was doing the film thing and I got myself built up to where I was having a really healthy salary, and I screwed it up, and I stepped away from making six figures a year. I'd finally had like my first $100,000 year, and I went back to making $12.50 an hour doing floors.
Yep.
And I had to build it all back up again. I did it a lot faster, but I had to go out on my own, take all the risk, and do it. And so there's good money to be had, but I think there's money that you like you said, right? You need to take you need to go learn the business skills, right? When guys are out there and they're telling you what to do, like Grant Cardone and Gary Vee, Elon Musk says all stuff, and you can find all of these really hyper successful entrepreneurs, and they're telling you, go put in the work, go do it. You might have to make some sacrifices. Here, read this book, that book, the other book. Like, the information is out there, and
but now you got to apply it to your trade, right?
Correct. It's the same as reading the instructions.
How do you take that fuel, that hunger, and how do you apply it to installing floors? Now, I think part of that is absolutely right. Just like you said, I do have a passion for floors, man. Call me crazy, but I love seeing before and after pictures.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I love seeing my hands go to work and seeing how I can change people's homes. And like you said, too, this is something no one talks about. You meet everyone installing floors. You meet, the mailman, you meet the regional manager at Chase Bank. Like,
yep.
The social aspect, man, you're not stuck at a desk. You're moving, what should be week to week, different sites, meeting new people. So, it's not a boring job. It's a stressful job, but, it's pretty cool in that aspect.
Oh, I agree. I think man, I had a job while I was still in college, working in like a cubicle farm, essentially. Now, I got a special cubicle that was like 3 times the size of like a 10 by 10. Mine was like 30 by 10, but I had 5 computers on one half, and then I had some other machines behind me, and I had like a wall of VCRs and TVs. So I was transferring people's like 8mm film and VHSs to DVDs, and then I was having to like edit the stuff, but going to the same place 8 hours a day, stuck inside these like walls, couldn't see outside, couldn't like it. It's not for me. I've been there. I've done that. So yeah, being able to get out and meet people. And like you said, there's such a diversity, right? Like you can go talk high level business with somebody one day, and the next day you're talking to like, your grandma, and you're hearing stories about what it was like 60 years ago, because you got to know the right questions to ask and the people that you can meet and what can you learn. Like, to me, that's what the conversations are all about. Like, what can I have you teach me because you've been somewhere I haven't?
Absolutely, man. I agree. There's all walks of life in this trade, and that's a pretty cool aspect of this. So I agree.
Mm-hmm. So what was it like? You worked for your brothers for a couple years, and when did you decide that like now is the time, like I'm going to go out on my own? Like, what made that decision kind of happen?
Man. You start knowing the numbers, man. You start knowing the numbers. All of a sudden you see, I'm getting subbed out essentially to do a job start to finish. Clients happy, clients thrilled. Why am I getting 20%? I just did this entire job. Wait, hold on. You just made how much off of me? So again, I get it, love the opportunities, and that's business, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, it eventually got to the point to where I was like, all right, what am I doing? I can do this. Like, why am I not getting the fruits of my own labor? Literally. So I think that was a big aspect, is finally, I know the trade. I know how to do X, Y, Z, but now let's earn that. Like, let's go get the money on my own. Let's start my own thing. Let's take that leap of faith. And it was terrifying at first. I went from a brother who's doing the business, right? He's doing the estimates. He's got the subcontracting contract with the big floor in town, the floor store.
Yeah.
And at first it's terrifying. It's like, crap, what do I do? Do I take his referrals that I did the floors on? Like, how do I get into this? So that was a hardship at first, is trying to get yourself out there. And that's when I talk about, new school business. You got to have some tenacity to understand marketing or getting yourself out there. As good as you are, people may not know that. How do they know to call the 22-year-old Fritzel flooring? What are you going to do? Are you going to go search optimization? Are you going to have a website? Are you going to go on Angie's List? Like, there's so many steps in this. Now, I think the path is almost to a sense laid out. It's really, how bad do you want it? How far can you go? So, the first thing I did, I got my website going. I got my company t-shirts right here going.
Okay.
I started just marketing myself. I got a trailer that's wrapped in my logo. I got a clean work truck, and I started just going at first, store to store. Hey, here's my portfolio I laminated for you. I'm the young guy. I have this experience. Here's my references. Will you take me on? And it got to the point to where now I'm almost installing all my own jobs. I turned 23 in November. I got a crew of about 4 right now. And luckily I've managed to build, a small little community of Fritzel flooring. And I think a lot of guys kind of lack that. And, there's so many steps and there's so much money in this trade. And that's one of the things that keeps me going too, is there's opportunity out there and opportunity to bless others.
Yeah.
In your own community, your family, your friends, and that's one of the other driving things for me is having the ability to make that change. I grew up a privileged kid, but there's times that, I wasn't that privileged, and I want to get those days back, and I want to be the best I can be and, rise by lifting others, just like Ken Bound said. It's a thing.
So you have such a outlook that it amazes me for how young you are, right? Like, humans are selfish by nature oftentimes, and you've looked and you've said, okay, I have this thing. There's a lot of opportunity here. So how do I find the way to spread this opportunity around and help others grow, but in return they help me grow? And you have this abundancy outlook. You're not worried about the other flooring companies in your area. You've gone to all the stores. You said, hey, look, I'm here. I'm ready to work. Give me some work. They started giving you work, but you were also out hustling to find your own projects and sell those. And so you're working that angle, and you're like, it's just not, look, you're a rarity, right? Like you have to understand that, like, you're not the norm of what people do. So many people will learn the skill. They just go to the store and say, give me work.
I get it, man.
It works for a lot of guys and gals. I get it. Like it's a great system. No. It's look, if that's what you want to do, I don't knock it. I would tell you to negotiate the rates and encourage you to do so. But if you don't want to put in the effort of finding the work and doing all that stuff, I don't blame you. I'll admit it. It's a pain. There's 14, 15, 16-hour days. And then you left the project and the back of the truck still full of, 800 square feet of carpet that's got to get tossed out. And now you're dead tired. It's 9:00 at night and you still got to type up an estimate.
Let me ride off of that, man. Exactly what you're saying right there. It's not easy. I'm coming out here and I'm telling you what I did, how I did it. But one thing that is kind of foreshadowed is it's not easy. I can't tell you how many birthday parties, how many bar scene nights that I've missed, as a kid in my youth. Mm-hmm. Luckily, all those guys are graduating. So now I get to look back and say, we're here now. We're doing the thing, but there's a lot of sacrifice that comes with that. I'll tell you, my body, I just listened to your podcast with the chiropractor, and it's an important thing. And that's another thing where, I'm speaking from the new generation here, taking care of yourself, man. Like, stop with the cheeseburgers at lunch, stop with the Mountain Dews, stop with the smoking. If that gets you going, that gets you going. But guess what? Are you setting yourself up for the day that all of a sudden that knee gives out? And, how many times have you seen on that Facebook page just a random injury? Not even just from age, but a random injury, the scary injuries and stuff like that. So, that's one thing that, you got to build your brand to suit what you got to do. And what I mean by that is injuries and riding off of that. I'm big with doing the right thing. And you just had a podcast with John, right? And we're talking about how to go from an LLC to an S Corp and stuff like that. And one thing I just realized is, I got most of my guys on a 1099 right now. And all of a sudden I realized, one
Mm-hmm.
of them's about to turn 26. He doesn't have health insurance.
Mm-hmm.
So now I'm like, all right, I got to practice what I preach of taking care of yourself. I got to get some health insurance. I got to run this company the right way.
Yeah.
And we talked about this before too, is I got to attract people. We talk about this on that Facebook page and how many people don't have helpers, can't get a helper, can't get this guy to show up, yada, yada, yada. And
Mm-hmm.
that's so true. You got Chick-fil-A down the street at $20 an hour starting out. How are you
Yeah.
going to compete with that? So, it's building your brand, respecting yourself to educate yourself. I'm going out with Billy Graham in California to go get my CTI and further my own education. I'm pretty
CFI.
confident with, CFI. Sorry about that.
Hey, if you want to go for tile, go do that. Go, no,
Yeah,
no. Just want to get the
CFI,
right one.
sorry.
Billy's got a hardwood and laminate class coming up in California. Go do that. Mario Fernandez is going to be there. Go hang out with him.
Heck yeah,
All
man.
right, go ahead.
Excited to
Sorry,
see
I
the
didn't mean to cut
burrito,
you
man.
off.
No, you're good. But yeah, just riding off that is, educating yourself. There's a lot of guys that they know how to do it their way and that's it, and with guidelines and how to do it properly, that in itself, investment in you is how you can reflect your numbers. So sorry to ramble off about that.
No, I think that's great, right? Like, once again, this is so amazing to me to see you jumped on it at such a young age that in my mind, I don't know where you're at now, but if you're only turning 23 next month, to me, a couple years, some hard work, a little bit of investment, play your cards right. 30, you should be not a millionaire on paper. You should have a cold million in the bank, sitting invested, treating you nicely.
That's the goal, man.
And
right.
So it's inspiring to see it. And so everyone's, Gen Z's lazy. They don't want to do anything. Okay, so that's not the case. You guys just want it differently. And I've talked to multiple people. I just talked with Trask and Rogue Bergerson, and I had oh man, I can't remember his name, but I had somebody else on, and young kid, great kid, and we talked about just specifically like, what are you guys looking for? But I think this is it, is like, you realize, okay, I found some people, they're willing to work hard. I'm paying them with a 1099. That's not the right way to do it. But he doesn't have benefits. How do I get him benefits? What can I do to provide them the things they want? And I think that's what your generation is looking for, is, everyone comes out saying, I want the $100,000 a year now, and you don't want to wait for it. And I don't blame you. I mean, I went, and the properties I'm looking at are all $1 million for like me being able to upgrade my house and have a little guest house on the side and some land to put some trailers on. But to me, like, $1 million house should have like this driveway that's like, half moon shaped, and there's like columns, and you walk in and it's solid marble floors with like giant, like 8-foot wide, like rounded staircase up, like, in my mind, that's $1 million home. Well, these are $1 million homes that haven't been upgraded since 1990, and they're 3,000 square feet on an acre of land, and maybe there's a guest house. Like, it's and it hasn't been updated since the 90s. It's got 12 by 12 glossy white tile running through it with a foundation crack.
That's classic,
that I can
man.
clearly see. I looked at it. I was like, this place needs like $200,000 in work. I'm out. I can't do it.
Yep.
So, but things are changing. And so the value of a dollar is different. What people are looking for is different, right? My generation and before, you could offer us $1 and we will jump all over that. Like, we just want the money. We'll figure out the rest on our own. You guys are coming in and you're looking at us and you're like, man, you guys are screwed. Give me the benefits. Like, let me get that stuff. Like, build that in, right? Man. How do I get that plus some fair compensation? And I think there's going to be a way of like balancing that. And so is that what you're seeing from, like, it's not, I don't think it's that people don't want to work hard. I think it's that we've made our trade look like crap. Like, us as the business owners
exactly
make it look like
man.
crap. Tell me, so
you
from
know?
your perspective, like what did you see? What do your friends think when they they know what you do, they know what you left college to do, and now you have some of them working for you. But like, what's the overall opinion from your contemporaries on what you're doing and why you're doing it?
Look, man, so just what you said with the whole Gen Z, being lazy, yada yada. I think it's a huge misunderstanding. Because first of all, to say word lazy is just blatantly not true. Now, there's laziness everywhere in every generation, right?
Yep.
And the thing is, I want to work smarter, not harder.
Mm-hmm.
Like, why do you want to go work 70 hours a week? Like, why is that generation so addicted to work, man? Don't get me wrong.
Yeah,
I'll
yeah.
put in my 40 to 50 hour weeks when I need to. But I tell you what, if I can work 10 hours a week and have the rest off to go fishing, go on the boat,
Mm-hmm.
why would you not want to live a life outside of working? That's a huge thing, man. I tell my guys refuse to work the weekends. They won't do it. They
Good.
said, no, that's my
Good.
me time. And I look back and I'm like, okay, I get it. Like, you're not a slave to the work. I understand that. You want your me time. And, my generation, it's all about working smarter, not harder, man. Look at this trade. It's dying. And if you look at the trade, the median age, and not saying age is a determining factor, but a lot of these guys are such old school blue collar workers that you get up, you go to work, you put the boots on, right?
Yeah.
And not discrediting that, but can you get some benefits? Like, do you even want to show up to work? Is it enjoyable? Are you a nice guy to your helper? Do you treat your guys fairly? Do you pay your guys fairly?
Mm-hmm.
And riding off of that, pay is a big thing. I got to estimate my jobs enough to where I can correctly and fairly compensate my guys, and this
Mm-hmm.
whole hourly thing is one thing that I won't do. And
Okay.
that's something that I've realized in this group too. We talk about day rates, and I see your spreadsheet on how much what you have to do to live a profitable life and a healthy life, right? In
Yeah.
this trade. So, you had on there like $100,000 a year. This is what it looks like.
Yep.
So for me, it's how can I bring my guys up with me?
Mm-hmm.
They're equally working as hard as I am. Yeah, I got to run the business, but they're on the floor. They're grinding. They're leveling. They're doing the things they need to. They're showing up on time. I love it. And these guys are young, man. It's not like I'm hiring guys older than me. I wish I could, but can't get any respect there, right?
Yeah.
I have a hard enough time going in and doing estimates without getting mistaken for being the helper or something.
Mm.
But yeah, I just think this new generation, we're more than willing to work, but we gotta be compensated, whether it's money, whether it's time off, whether it's benefits.
Mm-hmm.
We don't want to work just to work, especially in this. Like I said, it's physically demanding. You
Well,
don't want to just be forced to do that.
Yeah, and I think the biggest difference is right. So I'm not. I have a case to say I'm Gen X. I have a case to say I'm the epitome of a millennial because I was born in '82. So in 2000, I turned 18.
Mm-hmm.
There's this small like microcosm of like a 5-year range from like 77 to 82, 77, 83 in there. Like one of the terms is Oregon Trail generation. Like we grew up playing Oregon Trail on Apple IIe. Like that's what you went to like computer class and did.
And I can't even tell you what that is.
Which is so funny to me. I can tell you later. But it's like essentially I grew up long enough with analog technology. I had a rotary phone. I had VHS. My mom had a record player that I could fiddle with. And then, I had to listen to the radio and record songs onto a cassette player. And then I moved into CDs. The internet came around and it was a big thing. And then it was starting to be in schools, but like I had to go and do research with encyclopedias. And so I very much understand the analog world, but I also understand the ease of technology. But I just like working hard and I don't mind putting in my time to get where I want to be. You grew up with a phone already in your hands that could do everything. Everything. From the time you were born, it was there and it existed. So yeah, it's not that you're lazy. It's that you've never had to work as hard as previous generations because it's so much easier to accomplish things that when you're offered, I think that's where the the problem is you're told life is like everything can be solved very simply. Like punch it into this phone, punch it into the computer, like you're going to get an answer, you'll get a solution. And then you're told, well, here's these jobs that are very physically demanding. Go do them. And you walk into it and you're like, well, this isn't appealing. This is nothing like what I was told the world is like.
Exactly. You know, this isn't influencers or
Now,
TikTokers.
Correct. Now, granted, you had a father that did it, so I think your take on it is much different, right? You were able to be exposed to it and grow up in it while still having access to this, like, quote unquote, easy world. And I that's where I think your difference is coming in. That it's you've been able to say, wow, like I really understand this hard work thing, the rarity of what you can do with a trade, but you're putting this your Gen Z spin on it and saying, okay, it hasn't really panned out well for a lot of guys that are in the trades, right? They're still working paycheck to paycheck or project to project, and I don't want to be there, and I see opportunity. So how do I use my skills for my generation to make it easy? And the other key thing you said in there was, I don't want to get yelled at. Why? Like, look, dude, I'm not a sissy, okay? Because I don't like getting yelled at. It doesn't make me a pansy. No one likes getting yelled at. Just because that's how you were brought up in the trades doesn't make it right. Okay. Is it funny to give the new guy a rag full of like mineral spirits and tell him to keep it in his pocket and give him chemical burns? I mean, I guess these days it'd probably be considered abuse, but I've heard stories. Like, I get hazing, okay? I'm all for it. Have some fun. But
hey, man, so am I.
This is not... You can't sit there and throw a hammer at somebody and expect them to show back up. Nobody likes that. Nobody wants to work in that environment. These kids haven't been raised in the environment. Billy was given a trophy for showing up growing up. Is it right? In my opinion, no. But that's what it was. So, you got to give them a trophy, but when they show up, say thank you. Show a little appreciation.
Exactly.
Okay, and I don't think there's anything wrong with that. Go ahead.
And I'll agree with you, too. It's like, I'm not one for participation trophies. Like, I'm still very old school as much as I am new school. But I'll tell you the difference is you got to adapt with the times, right? Like, I'm very aware of my generation and how we operate. So am I going to create this work environment like a, quote, old school type of just angry, hand me that hammer, like, oh, you messed this up type of situation? Who's going to do that? Especially kids my age. Absolutely not. I'll tell you that. I wouldn't do it. It's, you got to have a work environment that's teaching and showing, and giving incentives as you grow and stuff like that. That's a huge thing is in this generation, having a work environment where you're not just dreading to show up.
Man, you know what? If I had a job that I could enjoy going to and there was a nice culture, that would have been amazing. I had a job for a very long time at a country club that I worked at it for a decade. And I would say like 6 or 7 years out of that, it was an absolute amazing summer job. All the people were super awesome. It was fantastic to like go to. You looked forward to going and seeing your like country club family and spending the summer with them. But there's plenty of other places I've worked where the culture sucks. And I think that's, what they want, and that's going to give you a leg up. I think there's a huge shift coming in this industry because if the average age of an installer is like 55 plus, how much longer do they really have to be around? And so not only is there going to be a huge shock to the industry if we don't find a way to bring in this younger talent, but when everyone wants to do it in a way that pushes them away even further, now what are you going to do? Like guys like you will be able to succeed very quickly because you're giving them exactly what they want, in my opinion. If you want to bring them up and train them and build this culture that says, oh, you want the weekend off? Cool. We can do, like, if I could find a way to build in flex time on a flooring project, I would be all about it. because that's what your generation wants. You kind of want to be able to come and go as you please. That just doesn't work in our industry. That's the
right. And
problem.
oh, you're not lying about that. But my guys will get on their phones, right? Snapchat or whatever. They'll
Hmm.
just stop working. They get a text. They respond to that text. And guess what? I'm not getting on them. I'm not yelling at them because I'm doing the same thing.
Hmm.
It's like, it's crazy, man. And exactly like you said, you got to have a work environment to where it's just welcoming and you're not just happy to be there, but you can be there.
Yeah. Man, I don't know. It's I I don't- I've seen it both ways. Like I've been places where I really enjoy working. I hear so many stories and see so many posts on these boards that I'm like, no wonder nobody wants to work for you. And look, I get why people don't
Yep.
want to work for me. I know I'm an asshole. Like I get it. I suck at training people. I do. I don't have the patience for it, no matter how hard I try. But if I don't figure it out, I'm in dead water, or I need to find somebody that can do it. And if that's a position I need to create, then so be it. But I know there's a problem and I'm willing to fix it. And most of these guys are like, oh, you're a pansy. Forget it. Like, screw you. Go
Right.
off you go. Or I've trained guys for 20 years and I'm just done and fed up with it. And I get it. You can get to a point where you just want to work, but somebody has to train these guys. You have so much knowledge that may die with you. Please share it, write it down, give it to somebody. Like, it goes back to that
Heck yeah.
abundancy mindset. And you don't have, there's more than enough work out there, people. Like,
Oh, there's so much work, man.
you don't have to
And
keep it
some
to
of these guys
yourself.
keep us in work, you know?
Correct.
And that's another thing, man, is, knowing your clientele. That's one thing that I think younger generations are more fond of is, and when I say knowing your clientele, there's a difference when you walk into the rental of $1.99 LVP versus when you walk into the multi-million dollar home with
Hmm.
solid hardwood and open-ended staircase situation, you know. And what I mean by that, I'm not going to cut corners per se, but I'm also going to do my job how it's supposed to be done for that occasion.
Yeah.
And I guess what I mean by that is on this job, I'm going to perfect it. On this job, I'm going to collect my check. I'm still going to do it how I do it, but that's it.
There may not be
So,
any little extra on it, right? Like if it's an apartment and
yep.
it's slam and go $1.49 like Lumber Liquidators,
Oh, yeah.
LVP that's going to buckle in 2 years for some reason. Like, man, I shouldn't have said that. That was bad. I take it back, Lumber Liquidators. I'm sorry. I really
Oh, man.
do. I'm going to take that back. I don't need to be. Look, I have a
I'm
platform.
not taking it back.
I don't need to be trashing companies like that outright. If you're buying stuff from a box store and it's failing and it's going into an apartment complex, then you're going to do it a certain way. And you're right. If I go in $1 million home and I'm working with a really nice product and I have a skill set, I'm probably going to put a little bit more effort into it. So
Absolutely.
let me interrupt us 1 second here. What's the hardest part of starting and growing a flooring business? Getting clients. If you're serious about taking your business to the next level, you need a marketing partner like Traffic Digital. Traffic is a full-service marketing agency that works with flooring companies all across the country. They'll help you get a continuous stream of clients using the most modern online marketing techniques. So visit www.trafficdigital.com today to sign up for your free marketing analysis. And remember, traffic is with a K. All right, Billy, what do you got for me? So you're now I forget. You switched the topic on me, and I'm okay. We're gonna go down this road. What did we go to? You have your notes. I know you showed them to me.
Hey, man, I got some notes here.
And this is good. Why?
Let's talk finances, man.
Okay. All right. We can go again.
You
What do you
know,
got on me?
I hate to bring it back up, but after being on that FIA page for so long,
Mm-hmm.
I get anxious, man, just reading some of these posts and seeing how guys operate. It
Okay.
bugs me, and it's basic things. Someone just posted on there for how much they're charging to install a subfloor, right? And you got some guys on there who are $1 a square foot, and then you got some guys on there who are at $5 a square foot.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, man, how is we as an industry this far apart when you're essentially doing the same job? You're only hurting yourself when you're the dollar guy, but can you justify being the $5 guy? And that's the thing too. Just like we were talking about, we're not supposed to just get up and go to work to get the paycheck every single week because we have to.
Mm-hmm.
You got to run a business, and you got to understand what comes with running that business. You know, quarterly taxes, filing your taxes properly, correctly, filing them in the first place.
Yes.
You know, that's a big one. And hey, guess what? I had to learn that the hard way my first year too.
Ooh.
So it's learning, and it's evolving, and it's growing. And I think the biggest thing right now, man, that I see from a younger generation, my perspective, a lot of people are going to be in some deep hurt when it comes retirement time and your body's giving out on you.
Mm-hmm.
And that's one thing that I'm just trying to learn now. You know, everyone else I know my age, they're W-2s, they're getting their taxes taken out.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, I'm a 1099. I'm getting every single dollar that's written out to me. That sure feels nice, doesn't it? But
well, yeah.
still got to pay Uncle Sam.
Especially when you're young, man, making good money. You know, you put some time in this trade, and as a young guy, you can make 50, 60,000 a year. Now you're the business owner. I'm sure you can hit six figures fairly easily if you're not already. And that's a lot of cash in your pocket. And, you know, I get the culture, right? It's all about being able to show off. You know, you got the fancy car, the fancy clothes, the fancy watch, the fancy glasses, the shoes, whatever it is. All of it meaningless until you can afford it. And that just because you have the paycheck coming in to afford it doesn't mean you can afford it. There's people that will say that you should live only off of your interest. So, like, what is that? Like, you have to invest enough to be able to get $6,000 a month in interest to have a $70,000 a year salary. And then your principal is still multiplying in the background. So it is very scary. And that's one of the reasons why I created the budget worksheet. As I was asked at, I did my talks at Surfaces, and my good buddy Daniel Gonzalez was like, "Hey man, you got a spreadsheet?" And I was like, "No." And then it spaced, and then in the back of my head subconsciously, I guess when I got home a couple weeks later, I was like, "Oh, we should make a spreadsheet on this." So I won't take credit for it. He totally did that. And it just kind of like it popped out later. People. But even for me, like what I thought the numbers were is I started putting down all my costs, and then I put it on the Floor Academy group, and I was like, all right, everybody, like, what do you see on here that's not listed here? And all these people started throwing out numbers, and I was like, man, I'm missing a lot of stuff. And then I started putting it all together, and the number kept going up and up and up and up, and I was like, oh my goodness, like, okay. And so now, yeah, okay, if I want $100,000 salary and I want the company to profit $50,000 a year, because my salary is not profit, that's the company paying me. I am an employee of the company. You do not own your company. You work for your company. Even like you own it, get over it. It doesn't work that way. You're an employee. The company has to make money for you to be able to invest back into it and for it to grow and retain earnings and be able to do what it needs to do. And then you have the insurances and all the other expenses. And the number, I think the number when you download the spreadsheet, because I was kind of playing with some stuff and tweaking it. So those aren't my actual numbers, but I think the number on there's like $1,000 a day. And that's as a single owner operator. You essentially need to be at like $1,000 a day to hit a six-figure salary, cover all the expenses I put in there, and then have the company make $50,000 in profit. And the insurances in Arizona are dirt cheap. Like what I have to pay for workman's comp and stuff like that is absolutely dirt cheap compared to a lot of other areas. So that number be that number is definitely going to be, higher for other people. It might be $1,100 a day. I don't, download the spreadsheet. It's on the website. Go to the file section and play with it. But there's also the employee part. I don't know if you played with that at all to see like kind of what you should be giving your guys, and you can put in, what you pay them an hour, what it costs to, Like,
How much do they have to earn in order for you to earn this, and vice versa? Yeah.
essentially, you put in all your numbers. So what's it cost you to have workman's comp on them per $100?
Yep.
They're going to get it includes a 1 week vacation. It includes a 3% IRA match. It has all these numbers in it, and then it calculates out what the actual hourly rate you're paying them is. So if it's 25, it might spit out 32, but then it tells you need to be making at least $64 an hour from them. So in my head,
Yep.
like if a guy can earn me 200,000, my total compensation package to him can be 100,000. If the company's walking away with 100,000 and all of his expenses are already paid, if they're doing it right, they're doing it by the books, the floors are getting installed to a T, then there's not going to be failures. So you're getting $100,000 from that guy in revenue that can go towards paying your part of the salary, paying part of your, general liability insurance, covering the tools, doing all this stuff. So it's an interesting thing, and I think the finances are important. They're often overlooked. When I started 3 years ago, people were asking me, "Oh, what's the number? What's the number?" And I was telling some business owner friends, like, "It's $500." Like, how do you know? How do you know? I was like, "It's $500." Turns out, I sat down with my bookkeeper. Essentially, it was $500, but I was missing a lot of stuff in that equation. That
Yep.
$500 a day, 250 days a year gets you to 125,000, which gets me my salary. That doesn't get me everything else paid for. That doesn't get the
Yep.
insurance and
And
all of that.
that's a big thing, man, is just financial freedom, and not just investing in yourself, but investing properly and investing period. We got things, especially my generation, Dogecoin, anything crypto, like it's booming. Guys like
Mm-hmm.
me, hey, we love making the easy money, right? So if I can work hard at this job, I know what I'm working, but now how can I be financially literate to where I can put my money to work? I already got my toys out of the way. I got my dumb decisions out of the way. I needed to do that. It happened, right?
Okay.
But hey, I'm not continuing to do it. I learned from it.
Mm-hmm.
Now I'm understanding, hey, let's put this money to work. Let's do, stocks. Let's do options. How does the stock market work? What is the stock market? What is crypto? How can I build on real estate? How can I take the fruits of my labor once again and put it to work for you? And that's another thing is, as much as I love getting new tools, everything red and black, by the way, must I add,
Okay.
it comes a point where you got to put your money in the proper places, not just in the bank, not just sitting around, not just with the fanciest Festool miter saw just to say that you have it so you can post the pic.
Mm-hmm.
Like, putting that money to work, man. I'm all about that. And that's one thing with my generation is if we can sit at home for a day and collect $500, we're going to do that every single day. And I applaud you for creating that spreadsheet too, because, I use that as a reference. When some of my guys ask me, hey, job pays out this, why am I getting this?
Mm-hmm.
I can break it down to them and show them, hey, this is why. I have to carry this insurance for you. I have to carry, my tools, my trailer, my truck, everything else in between, right?
Yep.
And that's one thing that I learned going from employee to wondering why I wasn't getting paid this to becoming an owner. It's like, I'm going to treat my guys fairly. I'm going to give bonuses. I'm going to give the time off. But there also comes a point to where, I show them how much every job is. I don't hide my paychecks. I want them to know this. I want to encourage them to where, I can throw you out on a job and all of a sudden, you're getting piece rates. You're getting a set price. You're not getting, a day rate or anything like that. You're showing up. You're understanding, hey, if I put the work in, I'm going to get this job done. I get this much,
Okay.
And that's one thing too is generation like mine. Yeah, we'll work hard, but we like to see what we're working hard for. How can we work harder? How can we work smarter? And, I was your other podcast with the young guy on there, there's stepping stones to this and how you get paid. And, if you can install a bedroom and luxury vinyl plank, great. You're here now. Oh, you're doing returns on quarter round. All right, you're getting better. So there's always incentives for my guys that's showing me, hey, I'm making you this much. I'm doing this quality of work for you.
Hmm.
What's my reward look like? Is there a ceiling? Because if I go over here to Chick-fil-A, yeah, I'm at $20 an hour. But what's the manager making? 35, $30 an hour?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm working with you at this piece rate. If I'm able to do this, I can make this much. So it's a learning game, man.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. I think that's a lot of small businesses in the construction industry are seriously lacking in well, one, we call them helpers, so stop doing that. Like, this is my this is, I will get on a soapbox about their apprentices, but if
What
you
do you
look
call
at,
them? Green hats?
you can call them greenies, greenhorns, yeah.
Greenhorn.
But
There you go.
it's they're an apprentice, right? Because if you go to the union and you're going to go learn a skill trade from the union, they have a set of guidelines that you follow. There's a process, and you go through A, B, and C, and it takes you all the way to Z. And when you get to Z, you get to be a journeyman.
Exactly.
Why are we as small businesses saying, "Go find this in the trailer. It's back over there in the corner, and it's buried because I don't keep my stuff
Exactly.
clean," and then come back and do this, sweep this room? Did you show them how to sweep the room? Did you show them how to install the carpet pad? Did you show them how to properly edge? Did, like, whatever area you're in, did you show them how to properly do it? Is there a set system in place to walk an employee through so they know when they're going to get a raise? You run a business. Treat it like a business. What business did you go work in when you were young if you didn't like just start doing flooring automatically, right? A lot of people worked at Target or Walmart or Burger King or whatever it's going to be. They had an employee handbook. There was like some kind of formal training that you got for a couple of days. Somebody walked you through steps. If you wanted to go and inquire about how you moved up to a position, it was like, you need to be able to show us that you can do these things. And that's what you're telling me. The guy can install a room of LVP. He can do returns on quarter round. He can. You're asking them, go learn these skills, come back to me, show me you can do it. I don't remember if it's in the episode with Trask Bergerson or not, but he was telling me, essentially he had an employee come to him, and he never turned the guy down for a raise because the guy was able to always walk in and say, "Hey, can we talk for a minute?" "Yeah, okay. So here's what I'm doing," and that's valuable to you, right? That makes you some money. Okay.
Yep. I remember this.
Yeah, and then he walks through like, I'm bringing value to you, so that's got to be worth at least $1.50 for me. All right, I'll give you the raise. Like,
Exactly.
yes, I need you to show me value, but I also have to put out there. I think it's my responsibility to put out there how you can hit those milestones so that you are more valuable, and sharing, like, the fact that you're not scared of sharing the numbers with your guys, I applaud you for. Big deal if they see that you get to make $1 million a year.
Right.
If you build the company that can make $1 million a year, you have enough employees to do it, then so be it. Like, that you take all the responsibility. If the floor fails, you cover it, not them. You paid
Yep.
their taxes. You take on all the overhead. You have the shop, the tools, all this stuff. And if they're happy with where their salaries are at, then so be it. And if not, there's the door. You have the skills. Go put in the time and effort to build what I built. But to be open about it, I think it breaks down a lot of walls. There's not as
And
much
hey, man, at first
mystique.
I had a hard time, originally doing that. When I'm getting paychecks, it's like, oh man, I'm getting this. I know what you're getting paid. I don't know how you're going to feel about this.
Mm-hmm.
But then it came to the point where I was like, wait, hold on, man. I don't want you just as a helper. Like, I want the best for you. And I know the best for you indirectly is just going to help me more too in my business. So it's building each other up to where, hey, I'm going to train you. And that's one thing that I want to talk about too, is like, I don't think a lot of guys, these helpers per se, are trained correctly. They're trained to go do the easy task, go sweep this room, go grab me the shop vac, go grab me this.
Yep.
It's like, you're just shooting yourself in the foot because that's all that they've been told, not even trained, but that's all you're telling them to do. number one, what helper is going to want to stick around for that? So when we talk about finding good help, and it's hard to find good help, it's even harder to keep good help, right?
Yep.
So when I find my guys that I have, it's like, I'm going to show you the way. I'm going to show you what I know. I'm going to show you how much these jobs go for. And I'm going to show you how I walk into an estimate, the things I say, how I interact with the client. So you can understand one day when I give you a call telling you to go do this, you're confident to do it. And you know you're going to get rewarded for that. Like there's milestones to this. And like you said, you know, I used to work at Advanced Auto Parts back in the day.
Mm-hmm.
There's a handbook. There's a way to do this. You have to do, you know, you work as a shift leader to a manager to whatever else, right?
Yep.
It's the same thing when it comes to this trade. And a lot of guys neglect that. It's like, you know, you start out as a helper. You're not installing anything yet. I'm teaching you. I'm not as fast as I usually am because I'm showing you hands-on. All right, I just did this. I want you to do this now. I'm going to correct you if you're doing it wrong. But if you're doing it right, great. Practice makes perfect. Let's keep on repeating that. We'll move to the next thing.
Mm-hmm.
So as I'm training my guys, it's not bad for me, man. Why would I hate training my guys? Because all of a sudden I'm sending guys to do jobs start to finish. They're getting more money. I'm getting more money.
Yeah.
I'm doing a staircase where I'm just relaxing, doing the technical stuff. The guys are installing the floors. It's a win-win for everyone. And I think people fail to see that.
I agree. It comes to, like I said earlier, right? You have this abundancy mindset, which I think is fairly unique. There's not a lot of people that have it. There's a lot of people that have that scarcity mindset. And there's not enough work to go around, and you're going to steal my job. And so if I train somebody that's as good as me and I let you go out into the market, well, you're taking my work. Well, look, I understand I have an advantage being in Phoenix, a city of 4.5 million people. Denver and Fort Collins is outside of Denver, right?
Yep.
Yeah. So larger city, not as big as here, but there's still a larger population, right? We're not talking like Podunk county town that has, 1,000 people in it, and the next thing is 30 minutes away and it has 600 people in it or something. Like in that aspect, I can understand a scarcity mindset. But when you're living in a city somewhere in California or New York or Phoenix or like these bigger cities, get over it, man. There is so much work available. It's not going anywhere. If you want to get somebody to stop taking your work, then go find a way to put some of these big third-party workrooms out of business, okay? Go take their work and get people some really good installs instead of the crud that gets put in by some of these third-party companies.
And that's the thing, right? And that's making sure a client also knows the difference between the lowest bid and the highest bid and what they bring. Not always the case, but how many times you walk into houses and you look down at the floor and customers are, oh, we love the floor, it's just time to update. And you look at it and it's not under door jams. There's H's, there's staircases, you name it. And it's driving you crazy, right?
Yes.
At least it does for me, man. Gives me anxiety.
Oh, totally. Yeah, no,
but,
I hate it.
What are they supposed to know? They're
Correct.
not flooring professionals.
Exactly.
They called you. And that's the other thing. It's like doing these trainings, whether you're NWFA members, you're getting your CFI, all these things. I had to emphasize that one. But, it's educating your client. When I walk in, I'm the young guy. I got my peach fuzz. I'm trying to look the oldest. I'm changing my voice. No, just kidding. But, I have to show them, hey, I'm in this. I'm a second generational installer. I know what I'm doing. Here's why. Mm-hmm. And I will walk through, and it's you got to kind of play salesman, right? But not the dirty type. You're just educating your client. You're making sure you know what you're doing, how you're going to do it, and why you're going to do it. And those other guys, they may do the same, they may not, but they know what they're getting from you. And that's one thing I've learned, specifically being the younger dude, is, hey, I got to tell them why they need some liquid underlayment for this glue-assisted floor, because you can't just lay down felt paper in situations like that, right?
Yeah.
So
No, I get
it's a
it.
big
Look,
thing.
I just had a lady reach out to me on Facebook, and she sends this message. She's like, Kyle, I have this flooring project, and I hear you were the guy that I have to talk to for like a wood floor.
Gotta love
Okay.
that.
Sounds great, right? Great way to start. Okay, like what do you got going on? Well, I have this guest room. It needs wood installed in it. I need it done like yesterday. Well, sorry, I'm booked. Like I don't think I'll be able to get to it until I think I'm booked out to like December at this point. And so something came up with a project I have with the GC this week. I end up with some free time. Tell her, hey, I'm out and about. I can come look at your project if you're around. She's not around, so I go. She's like, I have the drywall guy doing some work there. Go and look at it. Let me know what you think. So I get there. It's still covered in the old adhesive from the wood floor that was ripped up. There's a crack running through it. There's tile running in the hallway that there's 3 pieces that need to be pulled up and put back in, and they got to be cut from the 8 that are left in the garage. There, and so it needs some self level. The adhesive has to come up. The tile guy needs to get involved. And that's just because I don't want to deal with it. I could probably set it, but I don't want to. So I'll find somebody to do it. And I'm telling her all these things, and I start warning her. I'm like, look, your tile install looks sound, but I have to warn you that if I go to remove this stuff, it's in the middle of your hallway. Like something may happen. Like I can't guarantee you that as I take one tile up, it's not going to affect another tile and shake it loose because of the tools being used. And that made her kind of nervous. And then I finally had time to send the bid. I reached out to her this morning and I was like, hey, don't want to rush you. There's an adhesive shortage. You want this done right away. I have Thursday, Friday available to take care of you. I need to know by 1:00 what you want to do. And she responds with, well, I opened it up real quick last night. The numbers look kind of high compared to what we were seeing. And what you said about the tile coming up and possibly like creating a chain reaction of things coming loose really scared me. And I was like, no. Look, I have to say that because I'm not going to be held liable for like work that like I like that's what I have to tell you. I have to warn you this is a possibility. I'm not saying it will happen. I'm not saying that I can't work well enough to like stop it. I'm telling you this is a possibility. And haven't heard back from her. Don't expect to. But like I can fit you in last minute. You tell me I'm the guy that like you have to use. That's what you've heard. And then I'm expensive and you don't want to go with me. So even education can go like totally in your air. And she wasn't there. It was like going through text message. Things were lost in translation. Not the best way to do it. I get it. I could probably get her on the phone, maybe talk to her. I don't really want to deal with it, but I'm with you in that education is very important. I think that it super matters to get the clients educated, and I'd rather get them knowing there's a problem and being able to make an informed decision, at least if they're going to choose someone cheap that's going to screw it up.
Exactly.
You
That's
told
my
them
thing too. It's like, who knows if the next guy who bids that out is going to say that. And then all of a sudden they do go in, they don't level the floor, they don't scrape off the old adhesive. And now she's wondering why the professional she called, her floor is not how it's supposed to be. Her floor is failing. Why is it failing? You're the professional. And that is an education thing. And sometimes it doesn't matter how much you educate that client, they're still going to go with the cheaper guy. And guess what? That's okay.
Correct.
How many more people need their floors done? And that may not be a client that you necessarily want or need.
Correct. I'm either going to get the call to fix it. Maybe I don't. But once again, abundancy mindset. My client's out there. Someone's going to say yes to me.
Exactly.
It doesn't matter to me. Someone is going to say yes. And I've told people that in bids. I'm like, look, I would love to land your project. This would be super fun. It would be great. You guys seem like great people. I'd love to work with you. I understand you need to see the prices. If you don't hire me, my feelings aren't going to be hurt. You have questions about like what somebody else is doing as the install's happening, let me know. I was like, I go on a lot of these. Someone's going to say yes. My company will keep going. I'm not too worried about it. And I don't know if that hurts or helps me. Like, I'm not trying to be arrogant. I'm just trying to be realistic. Like, someone's going to say yes to a bid. I'm not worried about it. And so I almost wonder if that aloofness and like semi, like just, I wonder if that helps in some aspect, but I don't know. I don't buy from me. So that would be
Hey
an
man, you
interesting like
never
research
lost
thing.
money on a job you didn't do, right?
Yeah, that's for certain. For certain. Um, let's see here. Where are we at? All right. So, you got anything else on that list of yours?
Oh, I feel like I'm just drilling the older generation, man, and I'm not trying to,
No,
you know.
no, no. It's I don't think it's that. I think that there are generational differences, and I think it does need to be discussed. And it's not. There was a way of doing business. I think it's changing, and I don't know that a lot of people want to keep up with that. I will be totally 100% honest with you. I think the floor. I look at the flooring industry, and I think it's stuck in the '70s. I think there's a good old boys
Absolutely.
club,
Look at the prices,
and
man.
it's not just the pricing; it's just how it operates. It's technology has changed so much. You brought it up earlier, right? Like, oh, we're making
Yep.
TikTok videos and we're doing YouTube and stuff like that. The manufacturers haven't caught up with how advertising is going. Like print advertising, man, I get the magazine. I look for if there's an article that I like. I go to the article, I read it. The rest of it gets tossed out. So you're spending, all these big manufacturers are spending money on that magazine to put a full page ad. I didn't even look at it. Now, you can put an ad on Floor Academy. Yes, you can. Contact me.
There you
And
go.
and you're gonna get the live stream in the group with your logo at the bottom. You're gonna get it put back onto YouTube where that thing's gonna live forever. You're gonna get brought up in the podcast where it's gonna live forever, because even once I stop doing this at some point, because I probably will, $5 a month keeps all of these things alive. I can have up 5-10 years worth of content, and $5 a month they'll keep hosting it all. So if I build the brand right, $5 a month for however long isn't a big deal. But they're scared of it. They don't understand, why do I want to do it? Well, you're a great example. You're actively listening. You downloaded the spreadsheet. You're tuning in and listening to what the conversations are. You're hearing the brands I'm talking about. You're an actively engaged person in this industry listening. It's not just this like pretty picture to catch your eye as you flip through something. And
Yeah.
something has to change. So I think
That's
you're onto
another
that.
good talking point, man, is just the state of the industry. And I feel like we are stuck in times before me, man. Because even when I remember as a kid, it's like things are still the same. We still have the same laminate Pergo floors. We still have the same tacky ads. Like everything about the flooring industry seems like it's just staying with that generation of installers, and nothing's changing. And this younger generation, we hope to better it, right? Because that's what we're supposed to do. We're supposed to evolve with the times. We're supposed to figure out how to be more efficient.
I think it's coming. There's, you've got people like that tile chick. You got Shannon out there doing
Yep.
stuff. I'm sure you'll find a way to probably start getting involved with it if you're not already advertising yourself somehow on these social media platforms. There's things happening. There is a shift coming. It's just a matter of, I truly believe there's just not enough of your generation involved. And so how do we find them to get them to make that final shift happen? Because if it happens when all of these guys can't work anymore, or gals, we're going to be in a really bad spot, which is like great for us. It'll be super lucrative, but
And I
then
can't
it's
even
everyone's going to
disagree
chase
about
money,
that.
but everyone's going to chase
Yeah.
money. Then everyone's only going to want to
That's
come because now instead of flooring being $250 a square foot, I can charge $750 a square foot because you don't want to be on a 9-month waiting list.
yeah.
So now everyone's going to want to do it, which how many hacks are just going to start saying they can do it?
That's the thing,
And,
right?
and like
It's like it's a recycling.
it's gonna be a whole new problem, and I think we need to get ahead of it and start, like I said, right? You want to work with your guys. You're showing them what it costs. You're showing them how to run the business. You're having expectations of what it's going to be, of like, you're here, I need you to get to here. Here's how you do it. Here's how you make more money. These are the things that businesses need in order to succeed. And I'm like astounded. I'm excited for you. I'm like my jaw has dropped in what you're able to
Appreciate
say
that, man.
and convey. I think it's absolutely amazing what you're doing at your age, and I commend you for it. You stepped out and you said, okay, there's a lot I have to learn, but I'm going to go figure it out. And that's it. It's
And
amazing. That's what this industry needs. If anyone calls you lazy, dude, I'll go punch him in the face.
hey, man, I appreciate that. It's changing with the times, and there's still people in my generation that are completely willing to go put in the hard work, man.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a little bit different, and it's supposed to be different. I hope it's not the same as it was. Like, I hope time evolves and people progress. That's just a matter of the times. So
I agree, and it's changing quick. That's the other scary part, right? Is
it
how
is.
much even in the 6 years I've been in this industry, the products has super changed. I started and LVP had like really just kind of come out and was starting to be a thing, but like I was doing like
Same here.
laminate and hardwood all the time. Now
That's all it
I'm
was,
90
right?
now I'm 95% LVP and like I've looked. I haven't done a set of hardwood steps in like 2.5 years. So
That's
it's
crazy. And that's another thing too, man, is product and everything. And some of this product is not evolving how it's supposed to. Some of
Mhm.
this LVP is almost a step backwards. It used to be nothing but laminate. Now it is LVP, but it's supposed to be better, right? And a lot of it is, but there's so many laminates out there that are outperforming this new luxury vinyl plank.
Correct. But that's just keeping up and being educated. You can't just
Yep.
educate yourself on the business side. You've got to get educated on the product side. You've got to stay up to date on the how do you install? Why do you install? Excuse me, like, why do I need to check moisture? What kind of new products have come out to do it? And so it's constant education, and that's the message here in this show. Get educated. Yes, I focus on business, and I'm getting outside of that because to me part of business is the mental health and the physical health. But you've got to know your trade too. I don't care that you've been doing it 30 years. You know what that means to me? You've either really been doing it 30 years and you've got 30 years experience because you've kept up with the industry, or you've got 1 year of experience that you've repeated 30 times. And I've seen a lot of
Oh,
people
man.
that it's the repeated 30 times.
So
So
have I, man.
it doesn't, I don't care. Like, don't use that reasoning with me because it's immediately going to piss me off and I'm going to lose a lot of respect for you. Don't say that. Show me what you
Fair
have.
enough.
Like, show me the actual knowledge. Show me what you're doing to change. It's really weird to call you Billy because every time I say it, all I can think about is my buddy Billy Graham, the Reverend,
Hey, man, it
Legacy
makes me feel better.
Flooring.
My real name's Wilhelm. All right.
And that's badass. So no,
Appreciate it.
it's so funny because he came. I watched so many FIA videos with him that if I hear Billy, I immediately think Billy Graham, and he always
I
branded it.
almost do too.
He branded it, so all you hear is
Billy
Billy
Graham,
Graham, Legacy
the
Flooring.
Reverend.
Like, it's so funny. Um,
Yeah.
so is there something I didn't ask you that I should have asked you?
Um, I don't think so, man. I think if there's one thing we can end on, it's really taking care of yourself, like I was saying, but the mental aspects of it, the mental health.
Mm-hmm.
And once again, we come to that generational thing of being in tune with your mental health and how the younger generation really is evolving with that. How many days do you go home and you are stressed out of your mind, man?
I'm
More
getting
than you
better
should
at
be, right?
it. Yes.
Yeah, you're getting better at it. That's good
Uh-huh.
though, right?
Uh-huh. Well,
And
I spent 6 months
that's
on the couch this year. I've talked about it. Go look in the group.
that
The
probably
mental health
did some
is
damage too.
huge.
Yep.
No, it was great. It's what I needed.
Oh,
I
never mind, man.
no,
That would've been-
I burnt myself out. I purposely stopped running my company. I almost shut it down. So
There you go.
the mental
Yeah.
health game is absolutely huge.
The mental health game, man, just making sure that, as much as you're physically in tune with it, that you're mentally in tune with it. I don't think anyone understands just to run the business and to show up and do these things. Like it is providing for yourself and you are your own paycheck, it's a type of stress that is just so overlooked, man. And the mental health that comes with it after those long days, and you don't want to go tomorrow. You wish you could show up at an office and not be miserable on the floor, right? Taking care of yourself and making sure that you're not just living for the floor. You know, this trade, you're going to quit this trade before the trade will quit you, right?
Probably.
And it's sad, man, to see some of the generational differences of just working through things when, you know, you're allowed to give yourself a break. You're allowed to go outside and just breathe. You're allowed to take a short day. You're allowed to do these things, and such that stigma is, oh, just get it done, be tough. Like, that's great, but how far is that really going to get you?
That's great insight. I absolutely love it. And it shows that you pay attention to what others are saying. You're taking their mistakes and you're learning from them. You're gaining wisdom a lot faster than a lot of people. So in my definition, wisdom is knowledge applied, right? You can have the knowledge, but if you're not applying it, then you don't have any wisdom. And so you're taking somebody's knowledge and applying it very quickly and very early on in your career. So way to be, because it's that's huge, and it'll take you very far. All right. So that's all the time we have, but where can people find you? If they want to reach out to you, if they want to know why you're finding young people and getting them to work for you or look at your work, where do they find you at online?
You already know, man. Social media, Instagram, Facebook, my website, Fritzel Flooring. You'll find me.
Just look up Fritzel Flooring on everything, at Fritzel Flooring.
FritzelFlooring.com, Fritzel Flooring on Instagram, Fritzel Flooring on Facebook. We're all there.
Awesome. Love it. All right, everybody. That's this week's episode. Go ahead and check out the website, flooracademypod.com. You can help support the show over at patreon.com/flooracademy. We mentioned the business budget worksheet. That's over there in the files section. What else do I have? I don't know. Thanks for listening. You know what? I don't throw this one out there a lot. In the show notes, there's a link for a headphones website. I use IsoTunes headphones. They are absolutely phenomenal. They work as earplugs as well as wireless earbuds. They actually have wireless ones now. I have like the little Bluetooth, like wired behind your neck ones. But man, they're awesome. They work great. The sound quality is great, and it blocks out all the loud noises we make that'll damage your hearing. If you use that, I get a little like kickback from the purchase you make. So go check that stuff out. It's a great product. I don't know. I feel like there's stuff that I'm forgetting because I don't have a script that I read at the end anymore. And I'm sure there is, but that's okay. So that's what I got. And thanks once again. Thanks for listening. Have you ever tried to install LVP on steps only to struggle with the solution for the stair nose? Introducing Snap Caps by SnapTech. You simply send SnapTech the exact LVP your customer selects, and they'll turn it into a perfectly matched stair nose that clicks flush into the tread plank for a simple and reliable solution. Visit www.snaptech.biz to learn more or order. Flooring Domain is an award-winning online flooring directory and service marketplace that helps you find more clients, grow your online presence and reputation or your brand. Whether you are a carpet store or flooring installer, perhaps a tile contractor, there are jobs for everyone with a daily stream of clients visiting Flooring Domain and looking for experts like you. Flooring Domain offers a free listing option that allows you to find new client leads. You can set up a free account at Flooring Domain by visiting flooringdomain.us. All right, everybody, that's it for tonight. Thank you very much. I enjoyed it, and we will talk again soon.